All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Sarabjit Kaur and with me is VC Pramod. The headlines. Polling begins for Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry Assembly elections. Voting also underway for third phase of Assembly polls in West Bengal and Assam. Centre rushes 50 high-level multidisciplinary public health teams to Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Punjab following steep surge in COVID-19 cases. Special campaign for COVID-19 appropriate behaviour being launched today to ensure 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation. India inches closer to administer 8 crore COVID-19 vaccines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address BJP workers from across the country on the party's Foundation Day today. Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari accepts the resignation of Home Minister Anil Deshmukh, Dilip Walse Patil of NCP to be the new Home Minister. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to hold talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi today. And Russian President Vladimir Putin signs a law letting him run for the President of Russia again. As the number of COVID cases are on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard, take all precautions and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Polling has begun for assembly elections in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. Voting is also underway for third phase of assembly elections in Assam and West Bengal. While single-phase polling is being held in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry, its third and final phase in Assam is today. Voting is also underway for by-polls to Kanyakumari Lok Sabha seat in Tamil Nadu and Malappuram Parliamentary Constituency in Kerala. Voting began at 7 this morning in all the states and Puducherry. Voting will continue till 6 p.m. in Assam, 6:30 p.m. in West Bengal and till 7 p.m. in Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. In Tamil Nadu, 3,998 candidates including 411 women and 2 third-gender persons are vying for the 234 assembly seats spread over 37 districts. The state is likely to witness multi-cornered contests this time. There are 2 major alliances, the ruling AIADMK-BJP alliance and the coalition of the DMK and Congress. In addition, actor-politician Kamal Hassan's Makkal Nidhi Mayam MNM and the newly forged alliance between TTV Dinakaran's Amma Makkal Munnetra Kadagam AMMK and Asaduddin Owaisi's All India Majlis-e-Ittihadul Muslimin AIMIM are also trying to make big inroads into the state politics. More details from our Chennai correspondent.
The massive democratic exercise in the state takes place today amidst rising summer temperatures and increasing COVID cases. The assembly elections are held amidst COVID-19 regulations in place. Face masks have been made mandatory for all the voters. Shamianas have been put up to protect the voters from the heat. Safe drinking water, special arrangements for persons with disability have also been ensured in polling stations. Poll booths have been given face masks, PPE kits, sanitizers, hand gloves for health safety purposes. Provision to dispose of used gloves have also been kept in the polling booth. The Election Commission, with the message that no one should be left out, has made arrangements to operate over 10,000 buses for the benefit of the voters. The Commission has also made arrangement with Uber to transport the elderly free of cost to cast their vote in Chennai, Coimbatore and Tiruchi. COVID-positive people can vote from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. today exclusively. With Murthy, Joy, AIR News, Chennai.
In Puducherry, 324 candidates, including 35 women, are vying for 30 seats. Over 10.04 lakh voters, including 5.31 lakh women and 116 third-gender persons, will decide the fate of these candidates. Total 1,559 polling stations have been set up for this purpose. Naam Tamilar Kutchi has fielded 28 candidates and DMDK has 26, AMMK 25, MNM 22, DMK 13, Congress 14, while NR Congress has given tickets to 16, BSP 11 and BJP has put up 9 candidates in the fray. More details from our correspondent.
In most of the polling booths, men and women voters are eagerly awaiting in long queues in large numbers. Considering the COVID-19 pandemic threat, all the polling stations are well sanitized. Voters are wearing face masks and maintaining social distancing in the polling stations. Voters are allowed inside the booths only after temperature checkup. Hand sanitizers and hand gloves also given to the voters in the booths. Volunteers assisting the PWDs for their requirement. The staffs available with the voter help desk are helping the voters to locate their names and the correct polling station. All polling stations are provided with assured minimum facilities, wheelchairs and transport facilities. Braille ballot paper is also available with the presiding officers. 10,04,507 voters will decide the electoral fortune of 324 candidates in the fray. Chandramohan, Air News, Puducherry.
In Kerala, polling for the assembly election began at 7 this morning. More details from our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent.
Voting in all the 140 constituencies began today at 7 a.m. and will continue till 7 in the evening in 131 constituencies and will end at 6 p.m. in the 9 Naxal-affected constituencies. Over 2.74 crore voters will cast their votes in 40,771 polling booths across the state. 957 candidates are contesting in the assembly polls and 6 candidates in the Lok Sabha by-poll. The main contest is between the CPM-led LDF, Congress-led UDF and BJP-led NDA. Amid the pandemic, the polling is being held adhering to strict COVID protocol. Thermal screening, usage of masks and sanitizers, social distancing, etc. are being followed, and the last hour of polling is reserved for COVID patients. Tight security is being deployed, webcasting and CCTV facility is being provided in most of the polling booths. Voters whose name figures in the list of double entry in voters list need to give an affidavit confirming the cast of single vote. Mayusha, Air News from Thiruvananthapuram.
In Assam, voting is taking place for 40 seats in the third and final phase. Over 17 lakh voters will decide the political fate of 337 candidates, including 25 women. Several high-profile candidates are in the fray in this phase, including State BJP President Ranjit Kumar Das, Ministers Himanta Biswa Sarma, Siddharth Bhattacharya and Chandramohan Patwari, BPF leaders Pramila Rani Brahma and Chandan Brahma. 320 companies of security forces have been deployed. Webcasting is being done in over 7,000 polling stations. All COVID-19 protocols, including wearing of masks, thermal screening, are being followed in polling booths. In West Bengal, 205 candidates, including 13 women, are vying for 31 seats in 3 districts during this phase. Over 78.52 lakh voters, including 38.59 lakh women and 246 third-gender persons, will decide the fate of these candidates. Bharatiya Janata Party and ruling AITC are contesting for all the 31 seats, while Congress, left parties and their alliance partner Indian Secular Front are fighting under the banner of Sanyukt Morcha. CPIM and BSP have fielded 13 candidates each. ISF has 8, Congress has 7, AIFB 2 and RSP 1, while there are 68 independents along with 32 others are also in the fray. Now we go over live to our correspondent Dharmendra Kumar Rai, who is in Hooghly district of West Bengal. Dharmendra, tell us about the security arrangements for today's polling.
Sarabjit, high security arrangements have been made to conduct smooth polling. More than 600 companies of Central Paramilitary Forces deployed. Micro observers are keeping vigil on polling process. Over 5,500 polling booths have been covered for live webcasting. Mobile phones have been banned inside polling booths for voters.
And Dharmendra, who are the prominent candidates in this phase?
Sarabjit, I am covering polling booths of Tarkeswar Assembly segment in Hooghly district. In this seat, Swapan Das Gupta from BJP, Ramendu Singh Roy from Trinamool Congress and Surojit Ghosh from Congress are prominent candidates. If we talk about prominent candidates of third phase, 3 ministers Gyasiddin Molla, Nirmal Manji and Asima Patra of Mamata Banerjee government are in fray. 2 senior stars, Tanushree Chakravarti and Papia De Adhikari, also trying their luck on BJP ticket. Trinamool candidate and West Bengal Assembly Speaker Biman Banerjee is contesting from Baraipur Paschim seat in South 24 Pargana district. Sarabjit.
Thank you, Dharmendra, for that update.
Senior BJP leader and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit West Bengal today to take part in the party campaign. This will be his third visit to the state within 6 days. Mr. Modi will be addressing two rallies at Rashmela ground in Cooch Behar and at Dumurjola in Howrah. Both constituencies will go to polls in the fourth phase on the 10th of this month. Union Minister Smriti Irani, actor Mithun Chakrabarti and other star campaigners of the party will be attending roadshows and rallies in favour of BJP candidates across different districts. Trinamool Congress leader and Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee will also be campaigning in Cooch Behar today. She is scheduled to address two rallies at Matabhanga and Mekliganj, apart from another public meeting at Kalchini in Alipurduar. Samajwadi Party MP Jaya Bachchan will be doing multiple roadshows in support of the TMC candidates. On the other hand, Pradesh Congress President Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is scheduled to address three rallies in Jalpaiguri, Alipurduar and Murshidabad, while Sanyukt Morcha leader Abbas Siddiqui of the ISF will attend a rally in North 24 Parganas this afternoon. The centre has rushed 50 high-level multidisciplinary public health teams to Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Punjab in view of the recent surge in new COVID-19 cases reported in these states. The teams are being rushed to 30 districts of Maharashtra, 11 districts of Chhattisgarh and 9 districts of Punjab. The teams will assist the State Health Department and local authorities in COVID-19 surveillance, control and containment measures. The two-member high-level team consists of a clinician or epidemiologist and a public health expert. The teams will monitor the overall implementation of COVID-19 management, especially in testing, surveillance and containment operations. It will also look into availability of hospital beds and other related medical facilities and vaccination progress. 3 senior officers from the centre have been appointed as nodal officers. The high-level teams will report to them.
A special campaign for COVID-19 appropriate behavior will be launched today. It will emphasize on 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation at public places, workplaces and health facilities. The special campaign will be organized till 14th of this month. At a high-level meeting on Sunday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had emphasized that awareness of the community and its involvement is paramount for sustainable COVID-19 management. In a presentation made during the meeting, it was highlighted that there is an alarming rate of growth of COVID-19 cases and deaths in the country. A report.
Some of the main reasons for the rapid rise in COVID cases can be attributed to the severe decline in compliance of COVID-appropriate behavior, primarily in terms of use of masks and maintaining 2 gaj ki duri. Therefore, government is launching this special campaign to emphasize the need for COVID-appropriate behavior in the coming days. For sustainable COVID-19 management, awareness and involvement of the community are paramount. There is a need to continue public participation and public movement for COVID-19 management. The 5-fold strategy of testing, tracing, treatment, COVID-appropriate behavior and vaccination would be effective in curbing the spread of the pandemic. With Anupam Mishra, Suparna Seghya, IR News, Delhi.
In a new directive issued by the Union Health Ministry, the on-site registration facility for genuinely leftover healthcare and frontline workers will be available only in the government's COVID vaccination centres. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan wrote a letter to health secretaries of all the states and union territories. In the letter, it was stated that it will be mandatory for healthcare and frontline workers aged from 18 years to 44 years to submit the required documents for on-site registration. This letter came in continuation of the earlier letter wherein it was directed that fresh registrations for the COVID-19 vaccination under categories of healthcare and frontline workers will not be allowed. The letter was issued by the Health Ministry after receiving several inputs that ineligible beneficiaries are being registered as healthcare and frontline workers at some vaccination centres.
India's cumulative vaccination coverage is nearing the 8 crore mark. Over 7 crore 91 lakh 5,000 doses of COVID vaccine have been administered in the country so far. The Union Health Ministry has said that more than 16 lakh 38,000 doses were given to the beneficiaries in the last 24 hours. Meanwhile, a total number of 1,03,558 new cases have been reported in the country in the same period, taking the cumulative positive cases to over 1 crore 25 lakh. The ministry said the country's COVID-19 recovery rate is at 92.8%. Delhi government has increased the operational time of COVID-19 vaccination centres in the city from today. 1/3 of these centres in the national capital will be operational round the clock. Earlier, all vaccination centres in the city used to work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Now, 1/3 of them will remain open from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. Delhi Health Department has issued an order in this regard, saying the decision has been taken to accelerate the pace of COVID vaccination. Meanwhile, over 3,500 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported in Delhi in the last 24 hours. In the same time period, 2,936 people have recovered and 15 deaths were reported in the city. Presently, the total number of active cases of COVID-19 in the national capital is 14,589.
Rajasthan government has ordered stern action against those not following COVID protocols. During a review meeting, Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot said that the second wave of COVID is more serious and people should cooperate with the government in the fight against corona. A report.
Health Secretary of the state Siddharth Mahajan told that the situation has gone serious in the last 15 days. Private hospitals have been ordered to reserve 25% of beds for COVID patients from 9th April. Daycare facility has also been started at RUHS hospital in Jaipur. The Health Secretary said that people should not leave the home without any necessary work. Inter-district or inter-state travel must be avoided. 108 ambulance services are being provided free of cost to bring COVID patients to the hospital. Meanwhile, 2,429 people tested positive in a single day yesterday. The number of active patients has gone up to 14,768 in the state. COVID vaccines have been administered to a record 5,44,000 people in the state yesterday. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
Uttar Pradesh government has issued fresh guidelines to contain the spread of COVID-19. Yesterday, nearly 4,000 new COVID cases were reported in the state, taking the total number of active cases to more than 22,000. According to the new guidelines, if a single case of coronavirus is reported, then that particular area will be declared a containment zone and 20 houses will be sealed. For more than one patient, 60 houses will be sealed. The movement will be restricted for 14 days in containment zones and a surveillance team will keep an eye. The guideline says that on report of one positive patient, the respective floor will be sealed in a multi-story building. In case of more than one patient, related block of housing group is to be sealed. The containment zone is to be unlocked after no COVID positive case.
Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar has instructed the Health Department to test at least 1 lakh samples in a day in view of increasing number of COVID-19 cases. Mr. Kumar said the maximum tests should be done through RT-PCR. He appealed to people to follow COVID protocol to contain the corona pandemic.
कोरोना बढ़ रहा है, दूसरे देशों में भी बढ़ रहा है, अपने देश के कई प्रांतों में बढ़ रहा है और अपने यहाँ भी बढ़ना शुरू हुआ, भले ही उतना ज्यादा नहीं लेकिन बढ़ना शुरू। तो एक एक चीज के बारे में हमने एक मीटिंग भी की है। लोगों को एकदम सलाह दीजिए ताकि लोग एक दूरी बना करके चलें और अभी बहुत जगहों पर बहुत ज्यादा कार्यक्रम अभी नहीं करना चाहिए।
Meanwhile, record 935 fresh cases were reported during the last 24 hours. Maximum 432 cases are from Patna. 103 micro-containment zones have been made in the state capital. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Polling begins for Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry Assembly elections. Voting also underway for third phase of Assembly polls in West Bengal and Assam. Centre rushes 50 high-level multidisciplinary public health teams to Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Punjab following steep surge in COVID-19 cases. Special campaign for COVID-19 appropriate behaviour being launched today to ensure 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation. India inches closer to administer 8 crore COVID-19 vaccines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address BJP workers from across the country on the party's Foundation Day today. Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari accepts the resignation of Home Minister Anil Deshmukh Dilip Walse Patil of the NCP to be the new Home Minister. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to hold talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi today. And Russian President Vladimir Putin signs a law letting him run for the President of Russia again. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मात नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मात नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
Welcome back to the morning news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address BJP workers from across the country on the occasion of party's Foundation Day today. Mr. Modi will address the party workers through video conference at 10:30 a.m. BJP President Jagat Prakash Nadda will also deliver his address. On this occasion, various activities will be organized at all booths by the party across the country. The BJP workers will also hold discussion about the policy of the party and the various welfare schemes of Narendra Modi government. Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari has accepted the resignation of Home Minister Anil Deshmukh and handed over the charge of the key department to Cabinet Minister Dilip Walse Patil of the NCP. State Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray had forwarded the resignation letter of Deshmukh to Governor Koshyari with a request to accept it. An official statement from the Raj Bhavan said the governor also accepted Thackeray's recommendation to allocate the portfolios held by Walse Patil to NCP ministers, including additional charge of Labour Department to Hassan Mushrif and State Excise Department to Ajit Pawar.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will hold talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi today. Russian Foreign Minister arrived in New Delhi yesterday on a two-day visit to India. The two leaders will discuss issues of bilateral relations with an emphasis on implementation of outcomes of the Russian-Indian summit held in September 2019 in Vladivostok. They will also exchange views on important issues of international and regional interest, including interaction in the United Nations, the SCO and the BRICS, as well as the RIC. A report from our correspondent.
Russia has been a long-standing and time-tested partner of India. India-Russia ties have acquired a qualitatively new character with enhanced levels of cooperation in almost all areas, including political, security, defense, trade and economy. Under the strategic partnership, several institutionalized dialogue mechanisms operate at both political and official levels to ensure regular interaction and follow-up on cooperation activities. The visit of the Russian Foreign Minister will be a unique opportunity to discuss important aspects of bilateral ties and review preparations for the next India-Russia Annual Summit. With Anupam Mishra, Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Defence Ministry has resolved a major pay anomaly related to direct recruit entry pay affecting the emoluments of recruits who joined the services prior to 2006. As per instructions of the Department of Military Affairs, junior commissioned officers and other ranks of Y and Z group enrolled in 2003, 2004 and 2005 can now seek refixation of their pay with pay and allowance officers and can claim the arrears of the last 15 years. The decision will not only benefit all personnel of the Y and Z group who joined services between 2003 and 2005, but also the other ranks who re-mustered to a different trade where the element of direct entry exists.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a law letting him run for the President of Russia again. The law was established on the official internet portal of Legal Information yesterday. A number of provisions of the law were developed on the basis of amendments to the Constitution. One of the newly introduced amendments is the restriction on the number of presidential terms for one person. It is applied to the incumbent president regardless of the previous presidential terms and allows the current head of state to contest the presidency twice. Also, the law says that eligible to the office of the Russian president is any citizen of Russia no younger than 35 years of age who has been resident in the country's territory for no less than 25 years and never had the citizenship or permanent residence permit of another state. Minister of State for Education Sanjay Dhotre will attend a consultation meeting of education ministers of E9 countries today. The meeting will be held on the theme E9 Initiative Scaling Up Digital Learning to Accelerate Progress Towards Sustainable Development Goal 4. The consultation is the first of a three-phased process to co-create an initiative on digital learning and skills targeting marginalized children and youth, especially girls.
Reenactment of historic Dandi March of Mahatma Gandhi, flagged off by Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Sabarmati Ashram, has reached Dandi last evening. The concluding ceremony will be held today. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu will remain present on the occasion. Dandi Yatra has created the patriotic atmosphere among the people. More from our Ahmedabad correspondent.
Historic Dandi March, led off by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Sabarmati Ashram on 12th March, reached Dandi last evening. Concluding ceremony will be held today at historic Salt Satyagraha Memorial in Dandi. Veteran Gandhian and a teacher in Dandi, Sri Dhirubhai Patel, described this Dandi Yatra as most successful in present time.
आजादी का 75 साल और दांडी कूच का 90 वर्ष दोनों का समन्वय करके ये अमृत महोत्सव रखा गया. लोगों में उत्साह तो बढ़ेगा. पोस्टर है, यात्रा है, सांस्कृतिक प्रोग्राम है, प्रवचन है, वो सब जरूरी है. मेरी दृष्टि से ये यात्रा और ये अमृत महोत्सव ये सफल है.
Though the 388-kilometer long Dandi Yatra ended after 25 days, its impact will continue to inspire the young generation during the celebrations of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. With Ashok Patel in Dandi, Yogesh Pandya, Air News, Ahmedabad.
And now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. The national capital Delhi is likely to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of development of thunder, lightning. It recorded a minimum of 22 degrees and the maximum will be around 39 degrees Celsius. Mumbai, with a mainly clear sky, is expected to have a maximum temperature of 36 degrees Celsius and it registered a minimum of 25 degrees. Chennai will have a partly cloudy sky. The maximum temperature is expected to be around 37 degrees Celsius. Minimum was 28 degrees. Kolkata, maximum temperature expected to be around 36 degrees Celsius. Minimum was 24 degrees. Srinagar will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Jammu will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will rise up to nearly 28 degrees Celsius from a minimum of 20 degrees. Leh will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. It will have maximum temperature of around 7 degrees Celsius amid light snow. Gilgit is expected to have 15 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad, minimum 10 degrees, maximum 15 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The surge in COVID cases and the Maharashtra row are some of the stories that hog the limelight today. Delhi mulls night curfew. PM to meet CMs as wave surges. Deshmukh quits after court orders CBI probe are the leads in the Hindustan Times. In a bid to eliminate armed Nakshals, Shah revisits strategy to wipe out Maoists, writes the Pioneer. With the amendment of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, the Business Standard reports IBC amended to ease resolution of MSME cases. On the India-Russia talks, the Hindu writes, Lavrov-Jaishankar talks today, Russian foreign ministers visit to focus on peace efforts in Afghanistan. And finally, a pre-independence electricity meter from Lahore, a refugee card, sewing machine, hand-crocheted item. Such are the items that are to be at display at the Dara Shikoh Library in Ambedkar University, Delhi, informs the Times of India.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Polling begins for Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry assembly elections. Voting also underway for third phase of assembly polls in West Bengal and Assam. Centre rushes 50 high-level multidisciplinary public health teams to Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Punjab following steep surge in COVID-19 cases. Special campaign for COVID-19 appropriate behavior being launched today to ensure 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation. India inches closer to administer 8 crore COVID-19 vaccines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address BJP workers from across the country on the party's Foundation Day today. Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari accepts the resignation of Home Minister Anil Deshmukh. Dilip Walse Patil of NCP to be the new Home Minister. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar to hold talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi today. And with that we end the morning news. Have a nice day.